All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I am Abhishek Mukhopadhyay. The headlines. Union Health Ministry reviews public health preparedness and vaccination progress in view of upsurge in COVID-19 cases and influenza-like illness in the country. Trade and Investment Working Group meeting of the G20 to begin in Mumbai today. Government constitutes committee to monitor stock of tur pulses held by importers, millers and traders. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announces suspension of judicial reforms following nationwide protests. And in Badminton, Madrid Spain Masters tournament to begin today. The Centre has reviewed public health preparedness for management of COVID-19 and vaccination progress with states in view of the upsurge in COVID-19 cases. Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan chaired a high-level meeting through video conference with states and union territories yesterday. He cautioned states and UTs against any complacency and advised them to follow up on the priorities listed in the joint advisory issued by the Department of Health Research and Department of Health and Family Welfare. He stressed on ramping of testing with higher proportion of RT-PCR and whole genome sequencing of positive samples. Mr. Bhushan urged everyone to follow COVID-appropriate behavior at all times. He also stressed on the need to increase administration of precaution dose among people, especially for the vulnerable population group. 22 states and UTs are reporting average daily transcripts per million less than the national average. It was also pointed that 24 districts in the country are reporting more than 10% weekly positivity in the week ending on Sunday. 43 districts are reporting weekly positivity between 5 to 10% in the same time period. Mr. Bhushan also advised states to undertake mock drills across all health facilities on the 10th and the 11th of April to ensure operational readiness of hospital infrastructure, including oxygen cylinders, PSA oxygen plants, ventilators, logistics and human resources. Union Health Secretary said, irrespective of the new COVID variants, test, track, treat, vaccinate and adherence to COVID-appropriate behavior continue to remain the tested strategy for COVID management. First meeting of G20's Trade and Investment Working Group will begin in Mumbai today. Union Minister for Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal will inaugurate an international conference on trade finance today. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
Over 100 delegates from G20 member countries, invitee countries, regional groupings and international organizations received a warm and traditional welcome in Mumbai. The role of banks, financial institutions, development finance institutions and export credit agencies in the closing the trade finance gap and how digitization and fintech solutions can improve access to trade finance will be discussed. Today's eminent speakers from India and abroad have been invited to deliberate and provide concrete solutions for mitigating the growing trade finance gap. After the conference, delegates will visit Bharat Diamond Boards. Jeevan Bhavsar, AI News, Mumbai.
Minister of State for Railways and Textiles, Darshana Vikram Jardosh, will deliver inaugural address on the second day of the second Environment and Climate Sustainability G20 Working Group at Gandhinagar in Gujarat. The three-day meeting, which has been organized at Mahatma Mandir Convention and Exhibition Center, began yesterday. The G20 member countries made presentations on the best practices about water resource management. Special Secretary, the Minister of Jal Shakti, Debashri Mukherjee, said management of water resources in a holistic manner is a prerequisite for the development of a nation and consequently water-secured world. The meeting focuses on thematic areas like arresting land degradation, accelerating ecosystem, restoration and enriching biodiversity, encouraging resource efficiency and circular economy, and promoting a sustainable and climate-resilient blue economy. The second G20 Infrastructure Working Group meeting under G20 Indian Presidency will begin at Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh from today. Around 63 delegates from G20 member countries, invitee countries and international organizations will participate in the meeting. They will further discuss the 2023 infrastructure agenda under the Indian G20 presidency and follow up on the discussions held during the first IWG meeting held in Pune in January this year. The flagship priority to be discussed in this meeting is financing cities of tomorrow inclusive, resilient and sustainable. Parliament has completed budgetary exercise for the year 2023-24 with Lok Sabha approving the Finance Bill 2023 amended by Rajya Sabha amid opposition's protest and sloganeering yesterday. Rajya Sabha returned the Finance Bill 2023 amid din without discussion. The Lok Sabha had cleared the Finance Bill last week amid continuous protests by the opposition parties. It was then sent to Rajya Sabha. Our correspondent reports that the stalemate continued in both houses of parliament for the 10th consecutive day yesterday on various issues. In Rajya Sabha, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman moved the finance bill. Members from Congress and AAP were in the well demanding joint parliamentary committee probe into the Adani Group issue. Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar expressed his disappointment over the continuous disruptions in the House.
Honorable members, it is unfortunate that 10 hours that were given for discussion on this have not been availed. It is most unfortunate. This is a theatre for discussion, debate, to put across points that matter in larger public interest.
This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. The government has constituted a committee to monitor the stock of tour pulses held by entities such as importers, millers, stockists and traders in close coordination with the state governments. The decision has come against a backdrop of reports of market players not releasing stocks despite the regular arrival of imports in good quantities. The Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution Ministry said the committee has been constituted under the chairmanship of Additional Secretary Nidhi Khare. The ministry said government is closely watching the stock position of other pulses in the domestic market to take necessary preemptive measures in the event of an unwarranted price rise in the coming months. In a special series, All India Radio brings you excerpts from the Prime Minister's Mann Ki Baat. Here is today's episode.
People, voice and direct dialogue. That's your and our Mann Ki Baat. Yes, this is how our Prime Minister connects with millions of countrymen. With the program Mann Ki Baat, aired on the last Sunday of every month on All India Radio. This series, which started on October 3rd, 2014, will complete its 100th episode in April 2023. In this 27th episode, when we listen to these excerpts of Mann Ki Baat, it becomes clearly evident that the Prime Minister deeply feels the pain of the common people. Our Prime Minister is one figure who has experienced astute poverty. Whenever he gets sentimental, he remembers his past and shares the reminiscences of the penury around him. He talks about his family life then and the values that they were taught. He believes that it is the poor who truly bring about a change in the social fabric of our country. In the Mann Ki Baat episode broadcast on 25th December 2016, he acknowledged their contribution to the growth of our country.
जब जनता कष्ट झेलती है, तकलीफ झेलती है, तो कौन इंसान होगा जिसको पीड़ा ना होती हो? जितनी पीड़ा आपको होती है, उतनी ही पीड़ा मुझे भी होती है। लेकिन एक उत्तम ध्येय के लिए, एक उच्च इरादे को पार करने के लिए, साफ नियत के साथ जब काम होता है, तो एक कष्ट के बीच, दुख के बीच, पीड़ा के बीच भी देशवासी हिम्मत के साथ डटे रहते हैं। ये लोग ही असल में एजेंट ऑफ चेंज, बदलाव के पुरोधा है।
The special Mann Ki Baat series can be heard every day in the morning and evening bulletins. Politician Atiq Ahmed and his brother Ashraf Ahmed, who are accused in the kidnapping of lawyer Umesh Pal, will be produced today before an MP-MLA court in Prayagraj district of Uttar Pradesh today. They were brought to Prayagraj yesterday evening amidst high security from Sabarmati jail in Gujarat and Bareilly jail. Atiq and his brother Ashraf were brought back to Prayagraj in connection with the 2006 Umesh Pal kidnapping and criminal conspiracy case in which both are accused. One of the Namibia cheetahs rehabilitated at Kuno National Park died due to kidney ailment yesterday. The 4.5-year-old female cheetah named Shasha was among the first batch of 8 cheetahs translocated from Namibia and housed in the Kuno National Park since September 17th. The feline was not keeping well since arrival more than 6 months ago and was recently taken back to the quarantine enclosure for treatment. The other cheetahs in the park are healthy. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has agreed to suspend a planned judiciary reform until the next parliament session after nationwide protest. Mr. Netanyahu made the announcement after 2 days of large protests against the plan. In a nationally televised address, Israeli Prime Minister said he wants to give himself and his political opponents time to seek a compromise over the contentious package. Israeli President Isaac Herzog welcomed the pause and said it is time for frank, serious and responsible discussion that will lead urgently to calming the angers. Immediately after Mr. Netanyahu's statement, the head of the country's largest trade union said it would call off a general strike that threatened to grind Israel's economy to a halt. Hungarian lawmakers have voted to support Finland's accession to NATO, putting an end to months of delays and bringing the Nordic country one step closer to becoming a full member of the Western Military Alliance. Hungary's parliament ratified Finland's application to join the military alliance. The measure, passed with 182 votes for and 6 against, came after NATO and the European Union repeatedly postponing the vote after nearly all other alliance members ratified Finland's bid. Turkey is now the only one of NATO's 30 members not to have ratified Finland's NATO accession. Full unanimity is required to admit a new member into the alliance. In the United States, a female shooter killed 3 young students and 3 adults at a private Christian school in Nashville in the state of Tennessee on Monday. Police said the shooter, who was a 28-year-old woman from Nashville, was once a student at the school. The shooter entered the school through a side entrance and went to the second floor. She was killed after being shot by the police. The school is located in the affluent Green Hills neighborhood just south of downtown Nashville. The Madrid Spain Masters 2023 Badminton tournament starts today. The 5th edition of the tournament will start with the qualification and first round matches today and tomorrow. Olympic medalist PV Sindhu and Saina Nehwal will lead India's challenge at the BWF Super 300 event. Sindhu is seated second in the women's singles behind home favourite and Rio 2016 champion Carolina Marin. Thailand's Busanan Ongbam-Rungfan seated third. 2014 Commonwealth Games Parupalli Kashyap will start his men's singles campaign in the qualification round. Kidambi Srikanth is seated 5th in the men's singles. He will be up against Sithikom Thammasin of Thailand in his opener. And now for a look at today's newspapers, it's over to Ramya.
Thank you, Abhishek. Finance bill cleared by Parliament amid opposition uproar, leads Hindustan Times. Rahul asked to vacate bungalow. TMC joins opposition meeting protest, writes the Indian Express. On the Bilkis Banu case, the Statesman says Supreme Court issues notice on plea against release of 11 convicts. Brought from Namibia 6 months ago, cheetah dies, reports the Tribune. Putting off harvesting, shield crops from unwarranted rain, Indian Met Department advises Northeast farmers, informs the Pioneer. Public Provident Fund, Sukanya Samriddhi interest rate hike unlikely, states The Hindu. Centre asks states to ramp up COVID preparedness, notes Business Standard. And finally, Dalai Lama names US-born Mongolian boy as third highest spiritual leader. Well, the Times of India writes that the Tibetan spiritual leader Dalai Lama has named the 8-year-old boy as the 10th Khalka Chetsun Dhampa Rinpoche, the third most important leader in Tibetan Buddhism. And with that, it's back to you, Abhishek.
Thank you, Ramya. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Union Health Ministry reviews public health preparedness and vaccination progress in view of upsurge in COVID-19 cases and influenza-like illness in the country. Trade and Investment Working Group meeting of the G20 to begin in Mumbai today. Government constitutes committee to monitor stock of food pulses held by importers, millers and traders. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announces suspension of judicial reforms following nationwide protests. And in badminton, Madrid Spain Masters tournament to begin today. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.